Hello everyone, this is a Greyshot17, trying to get back up to date with all my movie reviews, and I have one more to do before I get to the most recent one with my brother. Hopefully he can finish Cloverfield Paradox in time. It's been 3 days. I watched it that night of Super Bowl 151. Get on it. Anyway, the review I am doing is The Maze Runner, The Death Cure. And this whole series slash kind of genre is interesting because most of it's bad. Like, people say it's like it's hard to adapt for a good video game movie. The young adult genre for the post-apocalyptic feel is also the same way, because you had The Fifth Wave, the Divergent series. Well, I know people say it's meh, but it's still meh. You have like The Giver and all these other like young adult style novels brought to life movies that are just not good. They're fine in some regard, but terrible in others. Hunger Games, I don't like the first one. I think it's okay at best. I don't care. It was kind of a slog to get through. The second and third one I really enjoyed. And I'm not even joking. I really enjoyed the third one. I like the more political aspect of it. I know a lot of people didn't, but I love that. And then the fourth one I think sucks. So why do I bring this up in the first place if I'm reviewing another movie? Well, the Maze Runner series, actually, the first one I thought was okay. I barely watched first two. I was doing something else. I just had them on the side. I thought it was okay. Second one, a little worse. But once again, it's not as terrible as other YA films. And then this film came out. I'm just like, you know what? I'll go check it out in theaters. Why not? And I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised. Again, maybe not for like insane quality, but just maybe consistency in the action, in the characters, and actually the emotional resonance of some of the scenes in there is pretty damn good. The effects on this, especially for the budget, which is like $65 million, which the Hunger Games had like $150 million. And if you told me like, okay, here's the Hunger Games and here's this, I'd be like, I don't know. They're like, it's pretty on point for just like that, like visual tone for both of them. Maybe this one's a little bit more claustrophobic slightly, but overall they get a lot done on their budget, and that's the first thing I have to say. This film looks good. The CG looks pretty damn good for, again, a lower budget film, and I'm glad to see it already made its money back. So again, I'll tip my hat. And also the directing, I was pleasantly surprised, because usually in these films the action sucks. But it doesn't. The action's really good and really heartbeat. They have an awesome sequence in the beginning with a train that's actually really, really cool and does a great job. And I just want to make sure I get the director's name, which is Wes Ball. And I believe he did the other two as well, so this is like his trilogy that he's done, so very nice job on that. But I should probably go over the actors. Dylan O'Brien is Thomas. This is like your linchpin. This is where your YA film will either go up or go down. Jennifer Lawrence was great in the Hunger Games trilogy until maybe the end-ish. Like I said, I don't like that fourth film. But again, she definitely put everything she had into the role, and I feel the same way for Dylan O'Brien. I believe there was an accident on set which they had to delay this, but anyway, I tip my hat, because each of these characters do what they can. Now, that being said, there are some issues I find. Even though he's considered like a normal guy and they're kind of on the run. I also like this resistance group because literally they are on the run. They do not have any capacity to fight the evil villains, Wicked, oh boy, who are still trying to look up the death cure for this virus that's hit the Earth after a solar flare. Yeah, just a little bit off. But again, other than a stupid name, they are still an imposing threat. They still are something that the heroes in this have no chance of directly engaging. And I love that about it, because in the Hunger Games, it was like, we can't fight the Capitol. We fight the Capitol. We win. Yay! It's like, well, you just build them up as a superpower and then you quickly take them out. Like, at least 3 kind of had like moments of like small little fighting engagements, like they were losing. That was fine. And 4th, it's like, we are easily gonna take this city and there's nothing gonna stop us. And that's the other thing I have to say about this film. This film turns into This film has a proper conclusion in a bigger way than Hunger Games, and I salute this film for it. Also, I kind of like the soundtrack to this as well. I'll get into more spoilers, by the way, why I say that. But again, if you're expecting a big conclusion, you're gonna get in this and expect it to look very good. What I also have to say about this film is I kind of like the score to it. I thought it was a pretty good score. That being said, it reminds some, I don't know why, some parts I'm like, is this sound like Halo a little bit? But I don't know why. But still, I thought it was good. I thought it was a good score. My gripes are character motivation. Can sometimes be a little bit, not wishy-washy, but plain. Like the villain, like Aidan Gillian as Jansen. He's fine. And then you have Ava Page character, Patricia Clarkson. She's fine. And again, they try to give more moments, but I wish they spent more time on them. And there's plenty of other characters that kind of pop up with their own motives. And they're good. And they have like small little moments of just like grandeur. And I'm like, oh, that, like they could have just had it one way, like a very stereotype, but they do it slightly different. And that just helps elevate this film a little bit. Once again, I do feel like the body count in this is like, oh yeah, Thomas is a normal guy. Literally, he just took out 20 armed soldiers with no armor, just single-shotting them, running through a hallway. And that was only in the last 5 minutes. You should have seen what he's done today. Stuff like that, where I'm just like, they kind of can get a little bit crazy in a weird way. There's also a lot of times where soldiers will be like, put your gun down. And it's like, you know he's either murdered or taken out dozens of your men. Dozens. At this point, maybe it's like, just shoot. Just take him down. Just take him down. I feel like you'll be okay. I feel like in this situation with this kind of setting where you are literally in the last city and this is a terrorist group, maybe, just maybe, you would take him out. I'm just pointing that out there. But that being said, the action sequences are very good for the most part. I did enjoy them. They have a good sense of weight to them as well, with a sense of urgency as things progress. I do also like how things necessarily don't go the way you expect. And I do like how characters, they kind of have the balls to be like, yeah, we're going to do this, and we're going to change it up slightly to make it seem like this isn't your just normal, oh, happy ending. Even though, I mean, come on, it's the third movie in a book series. I think you're going to get that. But overall, I will say that this movie is above average, but there are plenty of flaws with the storytelling. The story is very weak. The characters are very good, but I can kind of see things coming a mile away. I do like what they did with Newt's character. I was like, oh, okay. That's, again, they could have very easily went a certain route with that character, but I'm glad in the performance of that character and how he progressed and how they ended it, they didn't hold back, and I like that about it. So what would I give The Death Cure? So overall, I'm going to be honest, I'm actually going to give it a 7 out of 10. Now, and the reason is just because, yes, it can be, this film is tropey, this film has a lot of issues, but it has no right to be as, like, grand scale conclusion and have this good of a, like, a lot of these characters are very good, to where it's like, again, it's the actors improving the script and giving it everything they have. Once again, Dylan O'Brien, Kayla Sodero, Thomas Brody Sangster, and Dexter Darden, and Natalia Emmett, again, kind of like the main lead, the core group. Just, I tip my hat off to you, because again, you just elevate this film more so than a lot of other kind of YA films, and to that I say congrats. But anyway, we're going to spoilers real quick. So, why I give it a 7 out of 10? Because they have a war. They have a goddamn war. And I'm like, yes. And I'm like, in case you're wondering, like, what do you mean, Greyshot? Literally, there's kick off an explosion, and you literally see block by block people fighting. And it's brutal. And I love it. I did not expect this, but I was like, oh my god. And then it slowly encompasses the city. Sure, maybe a few too many buildings fall down if they're trying to take it. But that said, it was awesome. And I was like, they're actually doing a full-fledged war. And again, this mystery faction that's kind of just been on the sidelines. I mean, they kind of hinted that's like, maybe you're pushing them down too much. They will revolt. And the main villain's like, nah. Jason's like, I got this. And of course, everything collapses like, oh no. So, very nice. Very nice. It's like, we may have fucked up. But overall, yeah. I also, again, they did have their conclusion, but they had a little bit more of an emotional resonance. I also like how the main character doesn't necessarily have a girl to get at the end. Technically, the girl he gets, she kills herself, or sacrifices herself, more like it, to save him because he has the cure. Once again, I don't like how he's a superpower badass, but I do like the emotional resonance with him just trying to be a normal guy. That I felt was actually pretty good. And yeah, overall, I was just pleasantly surprised by this film and how it just concluded. It's not a masterpiece by any regard, and probably I elevated from a 6 to a 7 just because just because of the war sequence toward the end, which, by the way, this movie is longer, but when you have literally a giant firefight going block by block in the city, and it actually has me more weight, a more emotional impact, and more like visceral feel than Hunger Games when they're preaching the war is coming, the war to the capital, and I watch it and it's like, there's no action around here. Oh, okay, we're in the battle, and it's literally a march. This is not a war, guys. This is not a battle sequence. This is stupid. This is stupid. If the Capitol had bombers and there's a giant crowd of people just walking up to the Capitol with a couple guys firing bazookas around their necks, I don't know why, just walking on up, I guarantee the Capitol will be like, send the bomber. Send the bomber. Point that out. That, again, a lot of issues I had with that film, where it turned to more like, hey, remember the maze? Remember the pit? Let's have that. Well, we're gonna put that in the city instead of actually show you a war. Yeah, I think it would have been better if they actually had like an actual battle sequence with her fighting her way through. But anyway, that's me, and I know that's that's my own opinion. I know a lot of people like the Hunger Games, but personally, if I had to say, judging by the YA novels, I have to say this is higher. But I've already gone too much on this review. I was, once again, pleasantly surprised about this film. So in any case, I want to thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. This has been Greyshot17. I'll see you all next time. Before this video ends, I want to give a special shout out to my Patreon supporters like Ace, Leo, Tim, Sean, Sejones, and Nick. Thank you guys so much for your awesome support, and I'll see you next time, guys.